Om. 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 Welcome to Meaningful Moments. The Mahabharata is a historical text. It is about families relating to Bharata. However, in its original design, its title was Jaya. Its title is Jaya. And Jaya means to be victorious, not externally, but rather internally. I'm very much hoping in September on Sundays to start studying and sharing the entire Mahabharata. Within this map, there's a lovely portion that describes types of friends. I'm reading that out to you. Types of friends. From the farthest friends to the closest friends, here's number 5. Sahartha. A sahartha is a relationship that's based on exchange. I give you this, so you give this back to me. This is more of an acquaintance, but it's called or described as a type of friendship. Number 4 is Kritritma. Kritritma is someone who gives to you a lot. This giving is external. And so you consider them your friend. In other words, they're buying your friendship and you're allowing it. Number 3 is Bhajamana. Bhajamana is a friend because of context. So if my parents are friends with another set of parents, then the propensity for the kids to be friends is higher. Number 2 is Sahaja. Sahaja means there's a special context to this friendship that is not physical. There's a special connection. You feel like you were friends in this lifetime and previous lifetimes too. How many of you have such a friend? You just have that connection. Good. So you understand this. And number 1, this is the closest. Dharmatma. Dharmatma is one who's following their own betterment. And so naturally, they're a catalyst to your own betterment too. Sahartha, Kritritma, Bhajamana, Sahaja, Dharmatma. If you can visualize meaningful mornings being an actual being, which of these 5 would meaningful mornings be? I see a 1. Yes, yes. What was the one where it keeps giving and we keep taking? Kritratma. Naturally, it is Dharma. Meaningful mornings is following that which is right which is why there's such a movement around it. And so, just visualize how it would feel to have such access to your best friend. In this context, being Sri Krishna. This is awesome. Best friends forever. Until June 10th. Then we'll take our pause. Chapter 18 is our summary. A summary in so many ways. In this chapter, we've flowed through 8 overt systems. Sri Krishna himself clearly stated, from this level to this level to this level, in reference to renunciation and separation. Feels like we studied this a long time ago. Renunciation and separation, then vision and mission. The next 2 systems were about intuition and determination. The final 2 were about satisfaction and composition. After these 8 are set up, then Sri Krishna shares the 9th, which is more covert. It's not presented as a system like these previous 8 were. This was in reference to swa, oneself, swadhyaya, swabhava, swakarma, swadharma. Through introspection, I come to know my weaknesses and strengths. Then I design a lifestyle, my responsibilities that will convert my weaknesses into strengths and my strengths to that which is beyond. All of this leads to swadharma, which is one's nature, existence, awareness, joy. As we analyze these 9 share in the chat. You have a thumbs up now? Okay. All I said in between was pausing, checking. So there's your review. In these systems, the 8 plus the 1, I very much feel Sri Krishna has taken us through chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's been a full review of these chapters in the reference of chapter 14. Chapter 14 is like an appendix. So he's using this appendix and taking it into these very fundamental chapters. Now the chapter in review is chapter 6. And all of chapter 6 can be described in 2 words, 1 phrase, and that is mat chitta. This would be another great idea for a tattoo. See how much you get in Meaningful Mornings? I can keep going with this. Mat chitta. Mat means Sri Krishna, and you don't have to define this in English like on me or in me, for me, by me. Don't get confused by all of that. People, grammarians love that. The point is it's Sri Krishna. And chitta, is it the memory? Is it the mind? Is it your inner world? It is you. Sri Krishna, you. Mat chitta means there is no distance between you and Sri Krishna. That is what chapter 6 or Dhyana Yoga or contemplation plays like, feels like. There is no distance. And opening this up more, there's no difference between you and Sri Krishna. This review of chapter 6 is ended in verse 58 in the first line. In verse 58 in the second line, a really personal dialogue begins between Sri Krishna and Prince Arjuna that is less general, it is more specific. I'm going to read to you what Pujaswami Chinmayananda has written about this before I get into verse 59. General statements of truth are too volatile to be retained in one's understanding permanently. But the general statements of life's principles, when woven into the texture of one's own experiences, remain as one's own earned knowledge, and they become permanent wisdom. Sri Krishna warns Prince Arjuna, if you follow through with what has been shared, there will be the final utility, independent joy. If you don't follow through with what has been offered as guidance, you will devolve. You will, I don't want to say be permanently dejected, but there will be long-term dejection. The choice is yours. Verse 59 continues with this. Yadahankaramashritya nayotya iti manyase mityesha vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyokshati. Joy. Yat means if. Ahankaram, ego and all that comes from ego, ashritya, if you resort to this, or if you continue with the trajectory that you're used to, you are engaged in, first it was flight, then it was freeze. Flight and then freeze. If you go in this route, do not think that this has come from a place of goodness. The source of this is your ego. A sign of ego in this context for us is when we don't change. I shared many times with those in Connecticut, those in London, those in Portland. If you care, you will change. If you care about your family, you will change. If you care about Sri Krishna, you will change. Here, Sri Krishna is sharing, you not changing is indicative of you not caring. I'll add. Nayotsya iti manyase. On account of your ego, if you start to think, nayotsya, that I will not fight. You not fighting, again, is not coming from a place of nobility, but rather exclusivity. Exclusivity. This happens to us when we feel we are right. When we feel we are right, then there's a lack of care for those around us, those far away from us. If Prince Arjuna doesn't fight, what happens to the present generation of people who are on this battlefield? What happens to the future generation? So whenever you have this strong sentiment of, I am right, pause, come back to this line. There's a high possibility I am right is coming from the ego, which means it's wrong. That's shared in the third quarter. Vyavasayaste, such a sentiment or resolve, esha, really what this is mithya. This is hypocrisy. Especially for all of us who have gone through hundreds of verses on what is right, and to still think, I am right, I am not going to change, or I'm not going to follow through with this guidance. That is all hypocrisy. The other day I heard an ad for, or from, Dignity Memorial. It's a funeral service. And essentially they were sharing is, you should use our service for the next generation. I have found so older people, biologically older, you can still hear me, see me? Biologically older, who feel this is just my home. This is just how I am. Now that's going to make life so much harder when their body gets too old and they die. They're justifying in their mind, this is just, but really I feel this verse describes them. They're not changing because they're egotistical. Please personalize this. Final quarter. Prakriti tvam niyokshati. Since there's a gap, there's a hypocrisy between what you're thinking and doing and what you actually are, eventually, what you actually are is going to force you to think and act in the way that is good for you. But it'll be much harder then. Much, much harder. So final reflection here is, Pujya Swami Tejomayananda had shared, those who don't move for and to Bhagavan, to Sri Krishna, that is papa. That is a sin. The previous verse, this verse, the forthcoming verse, the word ahankara is used. That's the original sin. Ego. If you want another reason to live, and there's so many, a reason to live is to come back from this original sin to the original parent. And not doing so is a form of sinning. If Prince Arjuna doesn't follow through, then that's what he's doing. Killing someone is a sin, obviously, but not following through with advice is too. There's a sentiment in the Mahabharata, those who have access to advice and don't follow through with it, they're dead. The implication is what a waste of time and words in a relationship. Very personal verses, correct? Many more are coming. And what a way to end Bhagavad Gita. From inspiration to application. Your application was to listen to the recording of our celebration on May 8th. Keep coming back to that. It is important to know what our community has felt, is feeling on account of a single seeker's reformation. That being Pujya Swami Chinmayananda. I had once read Pujya Swami Chinmayananda writing about Sri Ramana. It was a single person's reformation that caused the reformation of millions. What a powerful statement. Your application for this morning is, what is one facet of you that you just refuse to change? I obviously mean in the negative. What is one facet of you that you refuse to change? Reflect on this. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Enjoy.